Hello viewers, and welcome to Exploring Cinema with Brian Meadows. I, of course, am Brian. Today's review is on the second Captain America movie. In Captain America the Winter Soldier, as Captain Steve Rogers struggles to embrace his role in the modern world, he teams up with a fellow Avenger and S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Black Widow to battle a familiar entity that he has considered an ally, along with a new threat from history, an assassin known as the Winter Soldier. Chris Evans reprises the role of Captain America in this film, and I actually believe he gave a better performance in this one than he did in the first film. Evans gave a fantastic performance, showing the same character he started with, but now that character is very lost and confused as to where he fits in with his new reality. It was also very surprising how much development his character had from the first film till now, going from a patriot who wants to serve his country to being against it ideologically. Scarlett Johansson reprises her role from the Avengers, Black Widow, and also she had like a little tiny cameo in Iron Man 2, but they didn't call her Black Widow. Anyway, she's a former Soviet spy and assassin. For me, she really does get better with each performance. They really have been able to give her character more depth than has been showed before this point in the MCU, and the dynamic that her character has with Cap was simply awesome, one of the best relationships in this film. Samuel L. Jackson also reprises his role from the entire MCU of Nick Fury, the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., and before this film, he mainly had a small role in most of the MCU films, so we never really got to see him in action, but we do in this film. He actually has one of the best action sequences in this entire film. There's a part where he's driving, and he gets attacked by a bunch of people who are disguised as cops, and oh god, he's getting injured all over, and there's even a part where he's waiting for the window to get destroyed before he pulls out an automatic machine gun that's attached to the center console, and he just starts firing at all of them. It's fucking awesome. Anthony Mackie plays Sam Wilson, aka Falcon, in this film. This is actually the film where he was introduced into the MCU. He's a former pararescue officer trained in aerial combat using a specially designed wing pack. He was fantastic in this role, so badass. He added a nice and great sense of comedic relief, but he was also stern and heartfelt. The chemistry between his character and Rogers was one of my favorite parts of the movie, and how they meet is actually really funny. When they, this is only a minor spoiler, but when the film opens up, it just shows, it shows the National Mall, or something like that. I think it was, the lake surrounding either the Lincoln Memorial or I forgot the national monuments, but he's just doing an early day run, and the Cap keeps passing him, and so you just keep hearing on your left, on your left, on your left. It is so stupid and yet funny. I love it. You also have the legendary Robert Redford as Alexander Pierce. He's a senior leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. and a member of the World Security Council. While I don't like Redford as a person because I feel like his political views are a little too fanatical for my tastes, I will give him credit where credit's due. He has never given a bad performance. My favorite of his being All the President's Men, which kind of feels a little bit like Winter Soldier in a way, but I'll get more into that later. And Pierce was a very necessary addition to this film. He exudes power whenever he is on screen. And finally, we have the Winter Soldier, a famed mercenary whose kill streak runs back over half a century, who begins hunting Rogers in this film. I will not say who he is because for those of you who haven't seen the movies yet, or have even seen later MCU films, may recognize the actor, and his identity is very crucial to the plot. He has very few lines at the start, being a mostly silent antagonist, and once his origin is revealed, he becomes one of the most compelling characters, in my opinion. For the film itself, I absolutely love it. It is to this day my second favorite MCU film, right after the first Avengers, and is still my favorite standalone in this universe. It was also one of the best sequels in years. I compare it to things like The Dark Knight and Empire Strikes Back. Yes, I am going that far. I will compare it to those. just how they took everything from the first in their respective series and improved on it. As I stated with the first film, Disney and Marvel had begun to make each standalone film distinct and signature with each other, and this film is most definitely a political thriller with a few spy film elements disguised as a superhero movie. And I love the political intrigue in this film because political films are usually those that I have trouble really getting to, or at all, even. The plot also focused on a conspiracy within the echelons of the government. In fact, one major influence on the story was the genre of conspiracy fiction, which included films like 1975's 3 Days on the Concord, which also starred Robert Redford. Captain America Winter Soldier also continues to be the most grounded of the MCU films, with the characters feeling more down-to-earth and realistic, and even S.H.I.E.L.D., a shadowy government organization, feels like a legitimate and genuine establishment. The plot even brings the political issues prevalent at the time, and still are today, into the film that reflect the anxiety of the audience. This includes things, references to like drone warfare, targeted killings, and one of the biggest things, global surveillance. The fight scenes are also more drawn out, put together, and feel more visceral and dangerous, and this was accomplished by doing away with those quick editing and moving cameras that plague the modern day action films. The plot is so suspenseful and filled to the brim with tension, and it wasn't just the action scenes, which were all fantastic, but the dialogue-based scenes are just as interesting. While this is a more suspenseful movie than Avengers, one thing that the film had in common with it was that certain characters had that great banter with each other, and their little inside jokes, especially Rogers and Black Widow. I love how they'll be in the middle of doing something like an interrogation or a beatdown, and then they'll start talking about their personal lives, like, there's this one scene where they're trying to interrogate somebody, and they pretend to throw him off of the roof of a skyscraper, and right after they throw him and you stop hearing the screams of the guy that they throw, Black Widow actually looks over and starts talking about Rogers' dating life, and they just act like nothing happened, and it's executed splendidly. The score is really great too, composed by Henry Jackman, known for scoring films like Wreck-It Ralph and the, let me think. Oh, sorry. Kingsman: The Secret Service, to scoring video games like Just Cause 3 and Uncharted 4. The score feels like an injection of symphonic, thematic, and heroic music that all kind of merge into one great musical piece. I wanted to take some time to also talk about the directors, the Russo brothers. Before this point, Anthony and Joe Russo didn't have much experience with film. In fact, they had only done maybe 2 small comedy films before they joined Marvel, and they were already very well known for directing comedy shows like Arrested Development and Community, and those credits don't exactly scream big budget movie. But the studio had faith in the directing duo, and it obviously paid off. One big decision that the brothers made with the film was that they wanted to use as little CGI as possible. If they could build it, they built it. If the stunt actors could do it, it was done. They also stated that to them, true live action was a dying art, and honestly, I agree with that. Most things these days are just controlled and overlooked with CGI, and I kind of hate that. I love practical effects and stunts, but like they say, it's a dying art. It really is. And because they decided to do that, that is why the film looks so great. The Russo brothers also did such a phenomenal job with this film that Disney and Marvel Studios had the brothers sign back on for the sequel, Captain America Civil War, and they're even going to be directing the next Avengers movie, Avengers Infinity War. I do have one small negative about this film, and it involves a scene with a computer intelligence, artificial intelligence. The scene helps switch the gears of the plot, which is great, but the actual concept of a computer intelligence kind of took me out of the film a bit. But like I said, though it is useful to the plot, I felt like it was, and I felt like it was kind of cool. It didn't fit in with the overall realism of the film. To recap, Captain America the Winter Soldier is a near-perfect film with great characters, surprising character development, great practical and special effects, a wonderfully great musical score, and an intriguing and suspenseful plot that is also riveting and compelling. Also, I do have to point out, so I absolutely love this film, and yet this is the least favorite of Mallory's. She actually thinks this film is boring, and I still don't know why. Why do you find it boring?
That's all I can say. I think it's boring. I have nothing more to contribute. I appreciate and admire the film that it is for other people, but I just think it's boring.
I'm still gonna try to get her to watch it with me someday when I get all the MCU films, because I don't have all of them, and I'm really disappointed in myself. What? I lost a few of them.
No, I'm just saying.
I don't know what...
So you're getting me to watch it again.
But you love me.
I do. I do.
Anyway, let's get on with this. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me ramble for a good minute. So, I must ask you, what did you guys think of Captain America the Winter Soldier? Did you love it like me? Did you hate it like her, kind of?
I don't hate it!
I know. Did you somewhat like it? Okay, maybe somewhat like it like her. Did you somewhat like it?
I just thought it was boring.
Never mind. Indifferent, all of the above, etc., etc.
Boring. Sorry.
Thank you. Whatever your answer is, I want to know. I welcome new perspectives. Although I will question you a little bit if you thought it was boring, which I wish I could do with her, but you know, that's her only answer. It's just one word. But anyway, be sure to check out my Patreon page, which I will have a link for in the description below, and you can donate as much as $1 a month. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel for more reviews and content. There is always more to come. Thank you once again for watching, and farewell until the next time. Bye.